Good morning. Welcome to the Network Breakfast. Thanks so much. My name is Tom Basie, and I'm going to take an opportunity here to introduce each of our participants for today. And we're going to talk about the impact on companies, at least here in Ohio, and about how people are going to start working from home. So we're going to start off introduction by Jeff. Good morning, Jeff.
We're going to start with Scott because of time.
I had enough time to do that. So
okay, well,
he's got 6 minutes, so you're going to take one of those.
I will hurry. I'm going to take up 5 of them. Just kidding. I'm Jeff Hexter. My company is Always Keep Computing. I work with the home and the very small office user who is stuck with technology problems and have run out of people to ask for help. So if you know people who are so frustrated they're ready to throw their laptop out the window, I want to be the guy that's down there on the first floor catching it so that it doesn't break.
Very
Hopefully,
good. Thank you,
they'll
Jeff.
call me before
Thank you.
they throw
Good morning.
it out.
Thanks for joining us today. And good morning,
Thanks.
Scott.
Good morning. My name is Scott Morrison. My company is Discovery Photo. I'm a full-time, full-service photographer, have been since 1991. Do everything from legal, corporate, industrial, architectural photography, do a lot of business headshots, modeling portfolios, and on the weekends I crash parties. So I have a pretty good job. If you need a photographer, look me up, Scott Morrison, Discovery Photo, when image counts.
Excellent, thanks. And if you look at last week's production, you'll see that the Next Door Breakfast welcomed Scott and his presentation. So please view that YouTube video. And now we'll say good morning to Chris.
Good morning, Chris Waller's see-through windows. I provide vinyl replacement windows. Actually, what is happening going on now has kind of increased my business because people got to stay in their house and now they can't open their windows. So we have been very busy, and we will keep on. We've been installing all the way through this, so everything has been good with us.
Great, thank you, Chris. Good morning, Mike.
Good morning. I'm Mike Bentley from the Brooks and Stafford Company, and I am your one source for all of your insurance needs. Thank you.
Thanks, Mike. Good morning, Marty.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Marty Kelble from Caldwell Banker Smith Realty, and as a realtor, I can help you buy, sell, lease, invest, or do an investment property or a rental property, second home, anywhere around the world or anywhere in the United States. Most of you have gotten this. I've been sending this out to all of you, the magazine that I'm producing. And I know a couple of people have commented on it, like Mike and Scott told me that they have received it and read it. The rest of you, I haven't heard any comments from. But it should be in your email if it isn't physically mailed to your house or business. So let me know if you get it. You should look for it.
Boy, that looks really good, Marty. Well done.
Love to see one.
There's a lot of articles in it.
Wow.
Marty, my wife has gotten it and she loves it.
That's great. Thanks, Marty. Thanks for joining us. Okay, we're going to say good morning to Rob. We're so happy he's here. Morning, Rob.
Good morning, everybody. I am a independent financial advisor with Kennard Financial Services, and what we do is we take the individual and we create a plan for that particular individual. Everybody has a unique circumstance, and so we try to create a plan for that person. So that's what I do. So much fun and exciting in numbers.
Great.
But we handle that.
Thank you, Rob. And also, just a reminder that Rob's presentation, unfortunately, we didn't record that, but he'll be presenting again soon, and we'll record that one for whatever topic we pick or that Rob picks, and we'll have that right here on the YouTube channel, The Network Breakfast. Okay, we're going to say good morning to Trina. Good morning, lovely and gracious Trina. Talented.
Always so sweet. Thank you.
Thank you.
And Marty, I'd love to know how to get a copy of that. Thank you. My name is Trina Gigax. I'm a freelance copy editor. I work with writers to refine their writing, not rewrite, just make it better, get rid of all the clutter, look at all the phrases, the sentence structure. I'm currently working on a book. It's Hope for a Cure for Alzheimer's.org is the company. It's my biggest project, and I work on it a couple hours a day, but it's gratis because it's for a good cause. My mom has Alzheimer's. So I'm here for your editing needs, training Gigax, Fresh Eyes Reading.
Thank you, Trina. Thanks for joining us too. And we're especially happy to welcome Harry. Harry Bernstein, good morning.
Good morning, Tom. I'm Harry Bernstein. I'm an attorney. I work with families with kids and young adults with disabilities to help create a plan for long-term success. Working with professionals such as Mike for insurance needs. Rob does some financial work for my clients, and other professionals putting together a team that can create long-term success. There's a lot involved when someone has special needs: education, planning, financial, legal, and we try to put that together. I'm also the executive director of Verity Compliance Company. It is a consulting company for those who have cannabis licenses on the potential federal legalization, which seems to be accelerating quickly because it's going to be a source of revenue and jobs for this mess we're in. And that's been a new venture. So if you know of anybody in the cannabis business or looking to get into the cannabis business legally, we'd be more than happy to speak with them and discuss how they can do so.
That's great. Thank you, Harry. And thanks for all you do.
Oh, thanks.
Okay.
Sorry I missed the last couple of meetings.
Me too.
Oh, and
We miss you when
Scott's
you're not
gonna-
here. Okay,
Scott's
we have
gonna
to
do my profile.
Scott's got to move on, so we're all
Yes.
going to say
Yeah.
adios for now,
Looking forward.
Scott.
Bye, Scott.
Again.
Bye, everybody.
As for us, I'm going to talk a little about the companies that have decided to let their employees continue to work from home. Most of the businesses that are cyber, like, for example, Facebook. Facebook's Zuckerberg says employees will be able to work from home permanently. So because Facebook is mostly done with a computer and an internet connection, he's allowing most of the, and I mean most of his employees to not have to go to the buildings anymore, which means eventually we're going to have a lot of empty buildings, because not only is Facebook going to do that, but Twitter is going to do that too. Twitter's huge. There's a company called Square. I don't know if you're aware of Square. It's a company that has a little adapter that plugs into your iPhone or your Android phone and allows you to accept credit cards. Well, the Square company, Jack Dorsey, he's going to allow staff members to work from home even after the pandemic is over. It's probably mostly over now, but the fact is that they're going to be able to stay home. They don't have to go to a brick and mortar. And here's another one, Shopify. Have any of you ever made a website that was e-commerce? Shopify is like the #1 because it's easy to do. If you have a product and you want to sell it, anybody without any internet knowledge or knowledge how to create a website can go to Shopify and create a website that has a store and sell products. Well, Shopify is going to announce that the world of work has been turned on its head, and he's no longer going to make people come into the office. As of today, Shopify is a digital by default company. So most of the employees of Shopify are going to be working from home. And the last one of these types that I have anyway, there's way more, but is called Group PSA. And what they do, they make automobiles. Peugeot, Citroën, Opel, and Vauxhall, mostly European. But that company, the people that work in the office area are allowed to work from home now. They don't have to go and punch in at an office, which is they have been doing that. I mentioned earlier that Nationwide has been planning this for years, of allowing people to stay home for other reasons. And now that we have this, they were 98% ready to just let everybody stay home, and everything was in place already. They allowed people an allowance money-wise to get the proper computer, laptop, and phone that they would need at their remote location. So that's nice. All right, so now to bring us back to the main one that I had was Nationwide. Nationwide Insurance Company has 30,000 employees, and they have 30 offices throughout the country that have 100 or more employees. So they have a lot of brick and mortar going. Well, all of them are going to be shut down except for Central Ohio, including downtown Columbus and Grandview Yard. I'm not sure if Grandview Yard is that around Columbus anywhere? Does anybody know?
Yes, it is.
Yeah? Okay. Des Moines, Iowa is staying open. Scottsdale, Arizona is staying open. And San Antonio, Texas is staying open. Other than that, the other large buildings that they have, which are Gainesville, Florida, Harleysville, Pennsylvania, Raleigh, North Carolina, Wausau, Wisconsin, and Richmond, Virginia, are closing. And those employees are now going to be working from home. Apparently, insurance is the sales force. I don't know. Do you think, Mike, being that you work for an insurance company, do you think it's advantageous to have a sales force that goes into the office or not? Is that necessary, or can they do?
Well, first of all, I was sworn to secrecy. I know an executive from Nationwide, and I knew quite a while ago that they were going to be closing all these regional offices. Not only, I don't know if your article mentions this, but there is also a drastic cut to workforce along with the closing of the office, because some of the administrative positions, because they're not dealing with brick and mortar and with hard copy paper, have been eliminated. So there was also a drastic cut in staffing. I would say that 75% of what I do outside of the office or can do outside of the office. I do think that there is value in staff meetings and interpersonal environments and conferencing. My concern is because of platforms like Zoom and other meeting platforms that we've sort of become isolated as far as the fellowship or the interpersonal relations. I still like to have contact with my peers, and whether offices are downsized and you still get together once a week or whatever, that's to my liking. I feel that this shift that we have is going to most dramatically affect commercial real estate. I mean, when you look at corporations like Nationwide shuttering many regional offices that house hundreds, if not thousands, of employees, and now those commercial spots are going to be vacant, who is going to assume that square footage? So I think the biggest hit is going to come in commercial real estate. I've thought about this whole issue quite a bit. Then as a result of that, we've had a recent urbanization, especially among millennials and young people moving to urban areas and downtown. Why? Because a lot of the offices, whether it's Quicken Loans, downtown Cleveland, or Sherwin-Williams, now, if you shutter those offices and there's no need for the people to live downtown, they're not going to be living downtown. You're going to see a move to suburbia and to rural America. And you look at all of the major tech companies that you mentioned, Google and Microsoft and Uber and San Francisco, when they shutter their offices, it's going to destroy those cities, because all of the people that are living in studio apartments in 700-800 square foot little mini apartments paying $4,000 to $5,000 a month in rent, if they can do their job living in El Paso, Texas, or somewhere in Kansas, and be able to buy a home and have their own property and still do their work, they're not going to live in the city. Then what's going to happen is a trickle effect. What about all of the restaurants in the city that cater to those millennials and those techies who have had to work near their company headquarters? So you're going to see a major hit in commercial real estate, and you're going to see somewhat of an exodus, especially from these major cities, Seattle, San Francisco, New York, and unfortunately, it's going to affect their tax base as well. So these are areas that are already short on cash, and if you're going to have people moving out, it's going to just exacerbate a problem. So that's my summary, Tom. Thank you for the time.
Mike,
Can I
unfortunately, you're right
can I
on
add to that?
target, and
Yes.
you're right on that.
Thanks, Marty. Yes,
Well,
Rob. Rob?
Tom, can I add to that? Oh,
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, of course.
Yeah,
Oh,
Harry.
so I've had that same conversation, and actually I had that conversation a while ago with some of these law firms. I said, I don't understand. One of the firms was expanding, and they were moving into another floor on a high-end building on the east side of town. And I said, I don't understand why you're doing this when your employees can work from home. Most clients do not want to come into the office. This was happening. This was at least 4 years ago. And I had the same conversation, same thoughts that Mike has, that the commercial real estate is going to be devastated unless they start thinking now what we can do. And there's a lot of progressive things. And I think, Mike, if you look to the West Coast, where these high-tech companies were having more people work from home, and you look to even Youngstown, where they're trying to repurpose the steel mills and the devastation they had, they're looking for progressive ideas, such as growing agriculture indoors. They're looking at high rises to grow, and it's not just cannabis. We're talking about food products. So you're closer to the city, so you can have fresh. So you're going to have to find some of these innovative ideas. The other thing is, I think there's a percentage of people who do move downtown because the entertainment, and vertical farming. It's right. That's exactly what it's called. But there are people who move downtown because of the in Cleveland's case, because of the entertainment, because of the lake and things like that. I mean, when I was in law school, I became pretty good friends with the dean of the College of Urban Affairs, and he said Cleveland's the only city that doesn't develop around their waterfront. We have a dog of a stadium taking up space, and we have an airport taking up prime lakefront space. So, you're going to have to find innovative solutions. The country, we hope, will survive, but there's going to be just a drastic shift. Absolutely. And I'm like, Mike, as much as I love you guys, I'm tired of Zoom meetings. I'd rather take camping chairs and sit around the park and bring our own breakfast or lunch somewhere, spread out 6 feet, which you're starting to see people do. I've seen a lot of that going on. Our Boy Scout troop has made a proposal to the city where we can meet and put the protocols in place, just because 11 to 16-year-olds don't like Zoom meetings so much either. But the solutions need to be thought about now instead of waiting till, it's just, I don't know where everybody's coming out with this money that they're handing out right now. So, meaning the government. We're going to have to find a way.
Yeah. Let me add that the reason that our offices are downtown on Public Square is because the Brooks and Stafford Company has always had a presence in downtown Cleveland.
Right.
Since 1849, somewhere on Public Square before the buildings were tore down and parking lots were made. And I will tell you that my clients, for the most part, are not coming downtown to my office.
Right.
It's just like Harry made the point. You're in a high-rise building. Who wants to come downtown, have to deal with parking and fight? We considered before our last lease or moving into the building that we're in now, maybe moving out, maybe moving down on Rockside Road where it's convenient for all the interstates, where everyone else is moved.
Yeah, Rockside is 77.
The only reason we're downtown is because of a heritage that we've always been downtown and image.
Right.
And I don't think when our next lease comes due, that's going to be as much of an issue as it has been historically in the past, because people aren't going to be coming downtown to my office.
So
the only ones who come to my office are some attorneys who are downtown, and during their lunch will come over, or I'll meet them somewhere. But people aren't coming downtown to do business.
So your
Right.
company is considering not staying downtown, Mike?
I can't say that. I don't speak for I don't speak for the officers of our company, but I would think that there should be some serious consideration. It's tough for us because most of our support staff, they live out in the suburbs. And so either they're taking, RTA, they're riding the train, riding the bus, driving downtown, having to park. And if you could eliminate that cost, I lost, probably 10 years ago, I hired the most qualified assistant that at that time I could find. I hired her away from a competitor, and she lasted 10 months because she hated coming downtown. The reason that she left, she hated coming downtown. She used to live in Independence, and her former employer was on Rockside Road. She could drive in her car, get there in 5 minutes, drive home if there were problems with the kids. And now she had to take a bus or either drive downtown. And that was easily an hour to an hour and a half in the day that she didn't want to have to give up. So I lost a good employee because she hated working downtown.
Did your company, Mike,
Like your point on the
So I'm
time
gonna
is
of
call
the-
you back.
allow
Forget-
most of the employees to work from home during this
No, I won't.
COVID-19?
Okay.
Chris, you got to mute your stuff when you talk.
But were you talking to me, Tom?
I was talking to Mike. I was asking Mike if your insurance company allowed people to work from home during.
We told everyone that they have to work from home.
Okay.
We have, however, maintained an open office in the sense that every day we have someone manning the switchboard
Okay.
and having someone go through the mail
Sure.
and doing some administrative, or sort of on a rotation basis.
Okay.
But pretty much all of our support staff has been working remotely, and that we as producers, if we want to come in and work, I mean, that's our own prerogative.
Sure. Very good. Thanks, Mike. Okay. I'm gonna take a second to introduce Shalom and let him say hi to everybody and introduce himself. And then if he has any comments about what we're talking about, take your time, Shalom. Thanks for joining us.
Friends.
Hey, good
Nice
morning.
to see you today. So we are looking for caregivers. That's our special niche, and I would love it if you could help me find somebody with super amount of compassion. In terms of some of the networking and some of the ways we're giving back in the community right now, as you know, we've put a pause on our quarterly events for the food bank. However, we've been doing entertaining. We've been holding up signs, dancing in front of a different assisted living facility each week. You know, they know we're coming. Sometimes residents are waving outside the windows, blowing kisses. We have the therapy dog. It's good times. Today we'll be outside in Wycliffe of Tapestry. So we meet at 1:30, a chance to do a little parking lot networking, and then, kind of line up, have some music. Nobody actually knows how to dance. Nobody cares. Sometimes the therapist and
It's better if you don't know how.
it's actually more fun that way,
Like
right? We call it the
Remember
COVID shuffle.
Seinfeld?
And it's been, I think we've probably done it maybe now 6 or 8 weeks in a row. So it seems,
Nice.
we've had like 4 more buildings ask, can we be next? Can we be next? The TV stations have come out to cover it a couple of times too, which is some nice publicity. So anyway, so that's going on. Got some other things going too. You know how I was raising money for the shirts?
Yes.
You remember how, with the, it said, "'Cause someone I love is a senior." So I'm not wearing it today. Anyway, so we're up over 30 grand now that we raised for the American Red Cross. So that was
good
good.
for you.
We sold them $10 a piece. $5 went to the American Red Cross. $5 went to the people who printed the shirts for us, cheap to print. And so that was fun. And they're thrilled. And people keep buying them. Like we just extended, we keep selling out. So every time we order another 2,000 shirts, we sell them all. So we're on our 4th printing now. So anyway, so that's been going well.
Excellent.
Some other things we're working on. I had a call yesterday from Ohio Means Jobs, the East Side employment folks. They say, we see that people are, scared to go to the nursing home. They want to stay home. They need your caregivers. We might be able to help you to do some recruiting. So we'll see.
Shalom, they are great to work with. I work with them quite a bit. There was a lot of funding. The governor stripped away, a lot of funding from unimportant stuff like education and Medicaid and all those good things so we can pump it somewhere else. But they are great to work with, from educating people and finding people to fit your needs from all levels and all areas. So.
Thank you for that, Harry. So we are going to work with them. They helped one of our West Side offices a little bit at the end of last November. So we'll see. Other things that we got going on. We're still basically working remotely. I was asked to take my first COVID positive patient. In the end, they ended up not needing our service, but we have a significant amount of PPE and training. In fact, we just did another training class yesterday and the week before on infection control. And we had dozens of people coming onto the call. We promoted it, and that was helpful. We're learning more about the disease as the weeks roll on, as testing ramps up in our area. So those are some of the things. I'm dipping my toe into what I call patio networking. So there's somebody who's particularly interested in joining me for a cold one. We're going to try to support one of the local restaurants. In this case, it's Winking Lizard, and they're opening again in Beechwood on the 8th of June. So like in another few days. So we're gonna try to go out there. You can have up to 10 people at one table, and no one's allowed to mingle. You have to stay seated unless you're like walking to the bathroom, which I don't recommend.
Shalom, I wanted to ask you did your business or does your business have a central office that everybody shows up in the morning? And if so, was that changed during this time?
Right. So traditionally, we do not have our caregivers come into the office unless they need like training or, to have maybe like a drug test taken or perhaps to pick up a check. But in general, we deliver trainings typically on the computer oftentimes. And, you can't like necessarily put your fingerprints over the computer because you don't have the technology for that yet in the home, but not so much. I do have two offices that I rent space in Highland Heights and Beechwood. Highland, we've always been remote. Beechwood, we went remote. And so I have maybe like one staff person rotating through each day. But in general, all the team leaders are working from their homes. So we, gave them some computers or whatever they needed, cameras. And so I wasn't massively impacted. But when it comes to like we would have a meeting where we go over, like I view any kind of criticism as like a gift because now I have a chance to improve. So I'm thrilled, to positive, negative feedback, bring it. It really helps us. And we would have a whole team meeting. What can we do better? And so that's been a bigger challenge to have because we're not in person with each other. We're still doing it, but we don't have that same, and I'm still hiring the vendor to get the feedback.
Sure.
But, so that's been I guess that's probably the biggest drawback. But we also have had a bit of an advantage in that when we're more spread out like this, more people are finding us. We had like a month where the phone didn't ring. Now we're quite busy. And I never had to have a waiting list before. And we started that last week. So we're just trying to keep up with, and as you know, the demand goes like this. At first, people were afraid. Who wants to have somebody new in their home?
Yeah.
And now people are saying, please come, we need you. I can't do this anymore. I can't get my work done because mom keeps asking me who I am every 10 minutes. So there it goes.
Yeah.
Hey, Rob, what about your office? Are you meeting?
Yeah. Rob?
Yeah.
Also, Chris, I have a contact for you.
Mike asked
Thank you.
Rob if you're having
Look in the
meetings
chat,
at
Chris.
your office.
Yeah, we can do almost everything from our homes. We were basically closed down except for the essential, the office assistants to get the mail and the phones, and everybody else was working from home. Most of us now are going back to the office. Just like Mike was saying, it's just better to have the meetings and bounce ideas off each other and have that camaraderie that we can talk to each other in there. I find most of my clients I meet usually in their homes, and because they don't like to come into the office, and that's the old school way of doing things, especially when I'm dealing with the younger generation, millennials and stuff. A Zoom meeting does it. What I find though, it's more difficult on a Zoom meeting to actually close the deal. So we can have this meeting and I sit here and get all the paperwork and say, okay, it's going to be electronic signature now. So I'm going to send it right over to you. And once you get it, just do this and that. And then it goes to them and it stops. Where when I sit down in front of somebody and we write out the application and stuff and say, okay, sign here, they sign here and I walk away with a deal for investing. So whether it's a cold feed or it's always that buyer's remorse, we deal with it when you're selling homes and stuff. And, oh, I just did something and I'm so excited. And then the next day they're like, oh, well, maybe not quite yet. So that's what I'm finding is the difficult part. In our profession, there are quite a few very successful advisors that their only office is their home. They have an office in their home and they meet with their clients either in their home, they have an area set aside, or outside the office or at the client's home. And also there are offices you can rent by the hour. They have office space, very nice places that if you need to meet a client out of town, you can find these that they have a receptionist that'll greet the client for you. You have your own office in the back and then a conference room so you can sit there and meet with a client. It looks very professional, especially have a neutral territory. If I meet with a young female, a lot of times I prefer a neutral spot like a coffee shop or something instead of going to their home and who knows what kind of allegations can happen, especially if I get a feeling when I talk to them on the phone that this probably isn't going to turn out to be a client. They're just something off there. So it's been a little bit challenging though with the way my house is set up, and I got 4 college kids that all came home and we're all trying to live in this one house, and some of us work, some do college stuff, and it's been a challenge.
Yeah. Very good.
Chris Walters, can you put your contact information in the text so I can get this contact to you, please?
Sure. Hold on just a second.
Rob, you and I are in the service industry where people many times make decisions intuitively on trust and integrity. And that's something that you generally can't convey in a Zoom meeting or over the phone. They want to sort of feel you out in a not a physical way, but just sense who you are and who you represent. It's based on integrity and trust in that person making a decision. So when you're selling services, the interpersonal relationship is so vital. It's not like I'm ordering something, a product, and I get it delivered by Amazon, or I go online and order my food and do the drive-in pickup at Giant Eagle. We're dealing with people. And thank goodness Panera is starting to open up again, because it's not uncommon. I'll have 3 or 4 meetings at different Paneras across the greater Cleveland area as a nice, neutral spot to meet a prospect or a client. Now, for an existing client, it's not uncommon to service them over the phone or through some sort of Zoom type meeting. But in reaching a new client or prospect, the interpersonal, in-person setting is so important.
Yep.
Okay.
It's that vibe you get when you meet with somebody in person. It's feeling, it's a power of discernment, and just, you just read somebody, their body language, their eye contact, and just everything about them, and just having that. So it makes it a lot harder to do this. But then I have some people that, call me, they follow some guy on the radio that I advertise through, and then next thing I know, they're calling, they're wanting to invest, and I say, I do this. They say, send me the paperwork, I do, and we're done. And then others, it's a little more difficult and some extra steps you have to go through, because some of it's just some people have never invested and they're starting off with $100 a month. That's a lot different than somebody rolling over a couple $100,000 to somebody they just met. So.
Okay. All right. Trina wants to ask something. Please, Trina.
When we were talking about downtown and the effects of, retail and all the commercial real estate, I know Cleveland isn't one of the cities that's great at this, but, a lot of cities have other reasons for living downtown, shopping and restaurants and just kind of the hubbub and the feel of why people want to live in a downtown city. And Cleveland's already been really, really conservative about that. So I wondered what Mike and the others were speaking to about how the downtowns may sort of fall apart, if that's true of the bigger cities where there's still, many reasons for people to stay downtown, that they're not there, just to work. It's sort of a community in itself of, although granted, a lot of the restaurants and shops probably won't reopen. So I just wondered how that fits into the falling down of some, what the real estate and the apartment life and things like that.
Well, I have a personal contact who is an executive at Uber, who has lived in downtown San Francisco paying $6,000 a month in rent.
Oh, man.
And they are currently looking to move to Austin, Texas. Now, Austin, Texas is the most progressive city in Texas. It has a more progressive type of lean, but the cost of living is a fraction of what it is in downtown San Francisco. So I'm not saying everyone's going to pull out and leave, but you're going to find that a lot of millennials, especially after they've been in the city for a while, the newbie who's come in for the excitement, their friends are there, the entertainment, the restaurants, but after that sort of wears off maybe for a year or two, and they're looking at how much money they're putting out for housing, for food, for entertainment, and they're making $150,000 a year, but they're spending $150,000 a year just to live.
Yeah.
And so I think it's a transition based on age.
I wish Cleveland had a better downtown excitement and reason to stay other than working there. They've always been pretty, they've tried the flats and all these different places, but it's not like other cities where I've gone where you go downtown and you just, right away, there's so much to do. So I hope that doesn't so greatly impact the retail and the property management firms who are taking care of residential also.
Trina, you hit it on the head, and it goes back to something I said earlier.
Mm-hmm.
There's never been the leadership to promote it. And again, this came from the dean of the College of Urban Affairs at Cleveland State. He said, we got one group that wants to build in the flats. We got another group that wants to build the Inner Harbor. There was never a master plan. I know even in a little town of Aurora, they tried to put together a master plan. And, for politics aside, I don't recall any, the guy I can think who did do some leadership was Voinovich, because he put those business people together to get things going. When Cleveland, as a kid, my dad would take us downtown, and the only thing that was hopping was the West Side Market. The rest of it was dead in the 70s and early 70s.
And that's struggling now. And that's struggling now
right.
because of Cleveland leadership.
Because right. But But yeah, Cleveland does have those things, and I'll go back to the waterfront pieces. That airport, which that's a federal issue now because of the FAA, that is such value, and the Brown Stadium, that is such valuable retail and residential property. The Brown Stadium gets used 10 times a year. It's absurd. You know, they built nice stuff around it, and they built nice stuff in between the airport, like Nuevo and some other things that were generating business. But, you know, we wanted to take my mother-in-law to a football game. You can't park anywhere near the stadium for somebody who's disabled. It's impossible. And Uber can't even take you close.
Yeah.
So a person who's disabled can't get to that area, certainly can't get to a football game.
Yeah, it's
So
a catch
it goes back to
22. You need,
Lack of
you need the,
leadership.
sorry. I was just saying
No.
it's like a catch 22. You need that downtown for people who want to go there. You know, but if it's not there, why would somebody want to go? So, you know,
Well,
somebody needs, you're right, there has to be a big plan to make the whole area work.
it's interesting because I was, when I was in the beer and wine business, I was pretty close with the Heinens people, not necessarily Jeff as much, though I've talked to him a few times. Oddly enough, I run into him doing Instacart, and we've had some good conversations about what's going on. But they took a huge gamble because when they wanted to grow residential in downtown Cleveland, they needed a grocery store. And Dave's Eagle Market did some business on the west side by Great Lakes, but they didn't have one downtown. And they came up with a partnership where they took a historical building, the old Cleveland Trust building, and built a wonderful facility down there. But they didn't have the business. They weren't really sure that that was going to generate the money they needed to keep it open. Now it has over time, because they've been aggressive with some other things. They've created workspace in there. I don't know if you've been in there. The whole second floor has an area where you can buy beer, wine, soft drinks by the glass and do your work. So you're right. That was the catch-22. We need a grocery store, but we need people too. So
Yeah.
And the rioters trashed the Heinens and Playhouse Square, from what I heard.
no, well, Heinz not so much. They did shut the store down. Most of the damage occurred on 4th Street near Public Square. They hit up the two winking lizards got it pretty bad because John Lane posted that on his Facebook page, and 4th Street got beat up real bad. So
If there's anything we can crow about of Cleveland is our theater district. It's like fantastic next to most other large cities, except for of course New York. But that's
Sorry,
one.
folks, I got to run. I got a call.
Okay, thank you,
yeah,
Mike.
I'm in the same boat too.
All right,
Guys, I got to roll too.
thank
but
you, Harry. Good morning.
count me in. Take care.
Bye,
Bye-bye.
Trina. Bye, Harry.
Trina, do you have a minute after this? You're muted.
Yes, I do have to walk Bentley and then be back by a 9:30 Zoom, but I can.
All right, I can call you when this is over.
Okay.
Thanks.
I wasn't leaving. I was waving goodbye to Mike.
Well,
Okay. So,
Tom, I love your new background.
sure, it's the office downtown.
That is? Wait.
Look.
So
Looking
that's
out the
really
window.
That's really, no, but how did you do the sign on the 3D office?
How?
It looks very real, like you have a huge
Yeah.
plaque on the wall.
Yeah, it's supposed to. I did it in Photoshop. I showed Jeff, this is with the backlight on, and I have another graphic with the backlight off that I could make it into what amounts to an MPEG that would actually it would click on and off like a neon would.
Oh,
But I just
very
put a
nice.
still, and you see out the window, this window is the terminal tower. We didn't get our furniture in here yet, so
Building, huh?
I left it open.
So Tom, you're in a high-rise building, huh?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm in one of the
I gotta
buildings.
go in a couple minutes, but Tom or Jeff, what would you guys recommend for a good printer for home, for color and black and white, make copies. That is not so expensive to operate with cartridges and ink and stuff.
Yeah, it's getting harder to pick a printer. In fact, if you look on the Micro Center website, you'll see that the number of they used to carry 20 or 30 HP printers that were $100 or less. They don't anymore. Maybe they let people go to Best Buy and get them. And they just carry, you know, like you could get a laser printer or something, you know, like for $200 or $300, color laser. But they don't have many HP office jets or desk jets or whatever they call them. They don't have many that are in that.
You guys can think about it, and maybe you can text me or send me an email that I need it. I'm gonna have
Everybody's
to
always looking for
work
a
from
good printer.
home more than I care to.
And
What are you printing?
In manner.
What are you printing and how many pages per week or month?
Oh, it's not a whole lot. It's less than 100.
All right.
Sure. Your duty cycle is very home oriented.
Mm.
So you could use anything. The issue is not so much the printer, it's the ink.
Yeah, I know.
But you know,
HP has a plan where you can be on a monthly subscription for a certain number of pages, and they just send you the ink
you
as
don't
you
print enough to be on that instant ink. Not 100 pages.
That's what, $10 a month?
Well, let's put it this way. I'm on instant ink, and I probably go through 400 or 500 pages a month, and it's great because it's cheap. I mean, and you know, I don't have to go to the store to pick the dumb things up every 2
Right.
weeks.
It just shows up whether you need it or not.
Exactly. And I'll tell you what.
You have, Chris. What printer do you have?
Who, me?
Yeah.
I got a HP 5740, which is probably 7 or 8 years old.
Wow.
Oh my! And they have instant ink for that?
Yep.
Wow! I thought they only did newer printers. So that's not available anymore. So we can't recommend that for Marty. But you know what, Mart? As the day goes by, I'll check it out, and if I see anything that's less than 100, that'll do you. Does it have to be HP, or can it be any brand?
Well, I don't have a preference. I don't know which would be better anyways.
Marty, do you belong to Costco?
Like, Brother printers are very popular.
Marty, do you belong to Costco?
Yeah.
They got all kinds, because I'm in there 2 or 3 times a week. You walk in and there must be 25 printers in there.
Oh, okay.
You go to one in Mayfield Heights, Marty?
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't realize they carried printers.
Hot dog for lunch.
Well, that would be
Anyway,
the first thing.
I got another office meeting.
All right. Thank you,
Okay.
Marty. Appreciate you showing up.
Thanks. Have a good one, guys.
Question. Take care. Have a great week. Thanks for tuning in,
Adios.
Tom.
Boing.
You know what scares me is you sit and think about it. Look at Rockside Road, what Tom was just talking about. Rockside Road may become desolate in the next 3 or 4 years. Because that's all it's there is office buildings with,
Yeah.
you know, people
People
every
that
other
want to go
insurance.
downtown, rent office space there. There's
Right.
a lot of empty buildings.
Well, look at Progressive. They own 271.
You mean over in Highland Heights?
Yeah, come on. They started Chagrin and go clear to Highland Heights with buildings on each side. What's going
Yeah.
to happen to all those buildings?
Tons
My
of
aunt-
buildings.
My aunt is one of the top 3% of their agents. She works from home part-time.
Right.
Wow.
She's got she hit some high award with them recently but she's been doing it for a while. She's such a great salesperson and does it all from her computer with a headset on at home.
Well, if anybody is going to have people work from home and make it happen, it'll be Progressive. They're always on cutting edge, you know?
You're saying they're progressive? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, that's not a misnomer. Peter B. Lewis.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he was as left as they get.
You guys were talking about business. I just got a telephone call from one of my installers. We have two jobs in on the east side, or excuse me, the east side of Cleveland, and they won't let us in to do it. So we got to go find. He's going someplace else today, or the next couple of days to go work.
But you've had pretty good luck getting in, right, Chris?
Well, yeah. I mean, we can move stuff around pretty quickly. So he's going to go do another job out in Lorraine for the next couple of days so this settles down, so we can go back in there and do what we need to do.
Yeah. Chris, do you think you could? Jeff, you turned your mic off.
Yeah, I was going to say there's going to be an opportunity for organizations like Regis to come in and buy the distressed real estate and turn them into temporary office spaces and things like that.
Regis is like #1. I had to go and help people set up that moved from St. Louis, and they were given my name by somebody, and I set up 2 or 3 companies that were leasing space in Regis, and they got
Nice.
like voice over IP phones and internet, and then and all their stuff was delivered from St. Louis, and it came in like 3 huge boxes. I had to go through everything.
Pallet.
Took me hours. They just
I
threw
bet.
all the wires in. I had to like separate everything. Oh yeah, it was a nightmare. But they said, "Man, am I glad you're doing this?" Because there's I don't know where this goes, and they were showing me, where does this go? I don't know, But
Yep.
yeah, I was there for days setting up 2 or 3 companies that were moved from St. Louis, and they did it like a package deal.
Nice.
3 companies, 2 or 3 like pallets with computer equipment in it. They just took it apart and threw it in there, like the office personnel. They didn't take it apart properly. And then I had to go over there and sort through everything, get everybody's voice over IP going. Yeah, it was cool. And that was at Regis over there on, is that Cedar?
They've got lots of locations. I don't know where they are in town, though.
But I have one by Hoosier. Behind Hoosier, there's an office building back there, and they're back there also.
Who's on Harvard?
Yeah,
Yeah.
in one of those office buildings back there, because they sent me an email, or an email or a card saying that I could use that place.
Yeah, what a wonderful idea, this Regis thing. And they have a girl up front that answers everybody's phone.
Right.
So it looks like you got like a regular full-time office. That's probably what'll happen to all these spaces. But I like that vertical, what they call it?
Vertical farming. I've read many articles about it. It's interesting.
Sure, taking the floor and make it into the back 40.
Well, they actually build racks with hydroponics on them.
Hydroponics, sure.
So first of all, it's an enclosure. You don't have the bugs, and if you do, you can really target where you need to get the insecticide.
Sure.
So you don't use very little water, very little fertilizer. You can control the lighting, specific wavelengths for the different plants that need that for their leaves, and you can have rack on rack on rack. You can get the growth cycle down real short. You can control the nutrient density of the plants you're growing, and you can control the energy expenditure a lot better than you can on a farm. You could even, on top of the building, put solar panels so you're powering it from, a lot of the lights are powered by the sun.
All that
already.
sounds fabulous. Great use for those buildings.
There have been articles about it that I've been following for a while now. It's really amazing.
Yeah.
I like the fact that it uses less, it's essentially organic farming using hydroponics.
Yes.
Are you two going in the houses and repairing computers? Yeah.
I am doing that as little as I can, but yes.
Yeah, I am now. Yeah.
Math's done.
It's kind of shocking to me that we have, and I stay away from retail like mad, but I'm getting retail business through networking and stuff like this, and people just for the last, today's what, Tuesday, Thursday and Friday, I was at 9 different houses and got 5 jobs, and all of them are people that I usually would never work for because they're like a retail situation, but I'm doing it for somebody else who knows somebody else, you know, one of those type of things.
Yeah.
And they let you in. They just don't seem to care any. I mean, at least the people that I run to don't seem to care about this COVID anymore.
Yeah,
Older.
neither do the
What?
marchers and the terrorists. You know, even
Jeff,
you know, most of them don't have
basically,
masks on.
Jeff, you ask if they're older. No, it's you know, from 30 to 55.
I know a lot of older clientele that have friends that have gotten sick with it, and they're worried about it. My wife sees it all the time.
Right.
And the doctors are getting sick.
But I think what Tom said, or somebody said, the farther you get away from Cleveland, and you go into the suburbs, we're away from all the people sitting on top of each other.
Yeah.
And I think what's going to happen is, after this is over with, you're going to see, now it's not going to happen right away, but I think you're going to see people rush to the suburbs because they just don't want to be downtown living on top of each other anymore.
Probably. But that'll depress prices of real estate, and that will cause people to move back downtown.
Yeah, it'll be a vicious cycle, but it'll be a 10-year cycle. It won't be, you know.
It can't happen instantly because moves take physical time. So
right.
Earlier, I think it was Harry said that that Trump had the area gassed so he could walk to the church.
He did say that.
Yeah, and also the headline the day before was that he was a coward running to the basement of the White House. Okay, so which way is it? He walked to the church, or was he a coward going in the basement? They can't have it both ways. But they criticized both of them.
Well, you sit and think about it. He's got security all around him. He's got, if they tell him to do something, he's got to do it. He's got no choice.
Well, he told them he was going to walk to the church.
Right. But what I'm saying is, if
they're going to find something wrong with it. They're going to.
If they took him downstairs in a secured area.
Oh yeah, that part, right? Because there was what's the term? There was wolves at the door, or whatever. It's like some kind of Shakespearean saying that. But anyway, yeah. So they brought him. They probably were just testing it out to see if everything works, you know, for getting him safe, in case they.
I think Jeff has. Tom, I think Jeff has the right idea. Put a bunch of skunks around there, and they'd be gone in about 5 minutes. Is that a skunk?
It is a skunk. It's my social distancing service animal.
Yeah, I like that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I have a bunch of.
Yeah, you could get. Here's what gets me, and I've got to go.
Me too.
They literally won't let you go to church. They won't let you go to a funeral, but they'll let you have thousands of people protest next to each other.
It'll be interesting to see if they all get sick.
Exactly. This will be the, Jeff, you're correct. This will be the tale of, if nobody gets sick, then we've been scammed.
Yeah.
We've been snookered.
Yeah, snookered. I like that one better.
Yeah.
Snookered.
My mother said that if nobody gets, if this doesn't cause a bunch of people to get sick in the next 2 weeks, she's going to come out of her house. We'll see.
Exactly.
And I can finish these damn Zoom calls that I do with my family 3 times a week.
Well, luckily I get to see my daughter because she works at a doctor's office, and she's even the doctors are and at least the doctors down here, they see very little of it because it's just, you know, we don't have anybody on top of each other.
Yeah.
Whereas where your wife works, she's in the inner city, and you know, people are living on top of each other.
Okay.
Well, interesting times. I got to run, guys. Thank
Okay.
you very
So
much.
do I. Have a good day.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you, Jeff.
Yep.
See you
Talk
soon.
to you.
Adios.